you go. Yeah, we got to get some of that. Get some of the. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Ooh. There's no other way to start this podcast than with a little bit of smudge. Clearing out that air or Palo Santo. If you have never used Palo Santo before, it's a beautiful holy wood that's only harvested once it actually naturally falls off of its tree branches.
Yeah, or else it has no value.
Yeah, or yep.
It has no benefits.
Then it has no benefits. It's a gift from nature, Mother Nature, Gaia.
She lets us know when it's ready.
Exactly. I love that when it's matured or ripened.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is that it calls in good energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whereas if most of you guys know about sage, and that's about resetting the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
All
it's
right.
like an antibiotic. It's just to reset everything.
I like that. Antibiotic.
Yeah.
Perfect. But a natural one. Okay, we're just going to go with the flow.
Okay. I love it.
So first there's going to be like pre-recorded intro, da-da-da, yada yada. Let me put on my 15-minute timer.
Super powerful intro gets everyone excited.
Super
They can't wait to hear
pumped.
this intelligent, spiritual, motivating conversation.
You know. Healing House presents the Pain into Power podcast with me, Miss Theo, where we turn pain into power and self-sabotage into self-love. Pain. It's part of the human experience. It's practically unavoidable. So what if we don't avoid it, but actually run toward it? And what if pain wasn't here to break us, but to awaken us? This first season features incredible guests sharing their personal journeys of transformation, the moments that cracked them open and showed them their true strength. So follow along on Instagram at Healing House of Theo. That's HealingHouseofTheo, or at the Pain into Power podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you may listen and watch podcasts. Like, subscribe, and join the community. Welcome, fam. Let's turn this pain into power. Welcome, everybody. This is Miss Theo, and welcome to the podcast where we turn pain into power and self-sabotage into self-love. And it only makes sense that my very first guest would be the person who I credit my spiritual awakening and so much of who I am today as a healer and a cosmic being to this wonderful galactic cosmic human earth angel herself. The list goes on and on. She has served thousands of clients over the last several years to deepen their skills, abilities, and powers. And she's also an energy healer, Reiki master, natural intuitive, and sound healer who connects you and updates your energy to a higher frequency. Now, that is honestly just a very small part of who this person actually is. She is connected to the 3D world as well. She has a full-time job. She's a mother. She's helped me through so many things. She was my Reiki level 1 teacher. She has been such an amazing guide. And one of the most important things and vital things I love about learning from her is that she has so much integrity with the healing that she does. And I'm a Leo, so I naturally have ego. So so it was good to learn from someone who is so humble and has so much humility, and it just incredible and just changes so many lives. So I wanted you all to meet Miss Sarah Wong first from Energy House. Welcome, Sarah. I just got full body chills when I said your full name.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. It's so hard to hear about yourself, no matter how much I've probably written that bio and shared it, but it's I don't know, it's a reflection of the last decade and just how much we've all grown through, and me included, and you know, your journey too. That was quite a while ago.
I know. That was
like 2019.
Was it 2019? Around that time. 17, 18, I think. Yeah. So Sarah and I actually met a long time ago because we were both in the digital ad tech world. I was on the sales side and you were doing product marketing, development, so many other things. And we kind of knew of each other, would see each other at like happy hour events. We had mutual friends, but we never actually got to hang out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was really sick, like spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I had left the corporate world to save my life because I was becoming very depressed and suicidal. And then I was staying with my friends Jess and Raj, who were amazing. Thank you, Jess and Raj. Heart of my heart's two best friends who fell in love. And then I was like, yo, who am I going to hang out with? But I was like, I support this. I fully support this. But I was living with them for a bit as I was going through my transition. And I think Jess could just tell how much pain I was in. You know, she would see me just overworking myself. I was wearing black every day. And naturally, I'm a very colorful person. So that's how I knew something was really wrong, was I was literally wearing black every day. I was sick. I was depressed. I never came out of my room. And so she was like, do you remember Sarah Wong? I was like, yeah, I remember her. She's like, let me gift you an Akashic Records reading with Sarah. And at this point, I was like, you know what? If it, sure, let's just try whatever, because I'm struggling, you know? And then I went over to Sarah's place at Energy House, and we had about a 1 hour to 1.5 hour session, which completely blew my mind and changed my life forever. Ever. Yes. Forever. And she taught me, she told me about things from my childhood, why I made certain decisions, and even ancestral ties, and maybe what my ancestors and parents had gone through and how that's like connected to where I am. And it just kind of gave me so much insight into like why I am the way I am, the things that I am here on earth to break in terms of cycles, how I can come fuller into myself and step fully into my soul purpose. So I just want to say thank you, Sarah, for being an amazing guide and teacher. She also took me on a 10-hour spiritual shroom journey. So like literally the list goes on. And anytime I have questions, I ask Sarah. So this is Sarah, the one and only. I literally send her all of my clients as well. I'm like, she's just so amazing. So I'm excited to have you here today. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I think journeys are important for us to share because it's, I think, relatable to many. And I think a lot of times, well, I know people always want to know, the number one question is, how do I do what you do or access what you access? And the truth is you can, you just, it's a muscle, you got to build it. And it's a relationship with you and your higher self. And some people that's religion, some people that's praying, that some people it's meditating, some people it's nature, right? Some people it's animals. So it's different for everyone, and it's not acknowledging like, oh, your way might not be my way, but it's going to inspire a way that makes sense for me. And I think just in, reflection of your journey, you give me so much credit. Thank you. But it's
You
really
deserve it.
it's really you and how you applied it, right? And we're able to understand a message coming through and apply it to the meaning you needed to heal or give yourself. So it's really less about whoever's giving you that, and it's really about how are you applying it? What does it mean for you? Because I always say, like, how I deliver a message is it's limited, because it's limited to my vocabulary, it's limited to my knowledge, it's limited to even my ability to channel. But for you, it's an energy, and you know what to do with that energy, and that energy is going to activate all kinds of stuff: awareness, ideas, feelings, sadness, right? It's like, how often are you in a session? I mean, you probably experience this now more with clients, and you could say one little thing, and for you, it's not emotional, but all of a sudden, they're bawling their eyes out and processing something major from childhood that you have no idea what they're really tapping into, but you're holding that space. And it's amazing. It's amazing to experience. I feel like that's why I chose to come back to this earth,
Lucky us.
I think it's to experience those moments exactly of, wow, this person we're able to have this shared experience. And I remember one time at Energy House, I used to have a physical store in Long Beach, and one of my clients lost her uncle, who was very young, so kind of like a cousin, but he was an uncle, and the heartbeat of the family, and no one understood his dark side. They knew he had one, because when he was really happy and fun, he was that person. But when he wasn't, he would go hide and, go into his dark hole. And unfortunately, one of those moments and episodes of going into a depression, he went full suicidal. And the family had a lot of questions. And I had done a lot of different trainings and certifications, and mediumship was a part of some of them. So I knew I had some mediumship abilities, but I never really used them. But I was called to for some reason. So I offered, would your family like to do a healing session, and just open space and see what happens? I would just love to create that for you. And she's like, I think so. We're at a point we don't know what to do. We can't process this, right? Yeah. So I called in another healer because I knew it would require a lot of energy from me. So I wanted someone else to support me in holding that sacred space and, the energy of the group. There was about 8 of them.
Wow.
And I wasn't expecting that either. I did not charge for it. And they're like, well, we don't feel comfortable now. I was like, let's just do donation. You decide whatever you want. After the experience, you guys can decide what that might be. Yeah. But I'm at this point, no expectation. I just want to hold space for you and your family. And so it was a beautiful ceremony. I did a meditation, and then I did this process where I had a dissolvable soap rose petal.
Yeah, I've done this with you.
Yeah, and this is where it came from. Oh, and this was all intuitive. I was just guided. I was I just felt like they need a cleanse. They need a release. And so what I had them do is individually go up to this bowl of warm water and speak into it, and most did it silent. So I didn't hear anything that was said. And so afterwards was a lot of petals not dissolved fully. So I was called to finish and dissolving everything. And as I did, all these words started coming to me as if it felt like their uncle saying goodbye. And it wasn't just a goodbye. It was acknowledging every single thing that was said that I couldn't hear. And I was able to kind of go through the room and address each one of them.
Wow.
And it was really, it was an experience I think I'll never forget, because everyone that walked out of that building that night felt a sense of, I wouldn't say closure, because I don't think with any kind of transition, especially death, there's ever really closure. But I would say there was an acceptance.
Yeah.
And an opportunity for them to say goodbye in a way that I felt was better than a funeral. Not to say they shouldn't have a funeral, but, it was like that, that intimate transition between that and a funeral, right? So, yeah, it's those experiences that I have so many stories like that I'm just blown away of what can be created when people come open, wanting to heal and open to receiving whatever, might come through.
I love that. That's so key right there. I think a lot of the people I serve are kind of new people who aren't quite sure what Reiki is, what is energy healing. And I always tell them that the most important thing for them is to just be open. Because like you had said earlier, when I was giving you a lot of credit, which you absolutely deserve, but of course, you being you, this is what I also learned from Sarah, is it's a co-creation. Yeah. We're working in tandem. And so the more open the recipient is to receiving, the more energy is just going to flow through. Ooh, I just got full body chills again. That's going to happen a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think that's such a beautiful thing to point out. It's just to be open, and that it is different for every single person. Reiki might work for me, but maybe not for you. Maybe it's breath work. Maybe it's, sweating it out in a sweat lodge, or go sitting in a tree, or screaming out in the woods, whatever works for you. This is
cooking.
Yes, cooking, painting, dancing. And You know, when we talk about spirituality, I think immediately people are like, ugh, woo-woo, woo-woo, what is this? Ugh.
Yeah.
But spirituality is truly just your connection with your own spirit. That's just what it is. Everybody, you know, has the opportunity to connect with their spirit, and some do it through religion, some do it through meditation, through movement. Whatever it is that works for you, works for you.
Yeah.
And no need to like judge anybody. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
Right there. Just so that everyone's like aware and not just encouraging people to maybe give things a chance before like judging it, because it could completely change your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think especially right now, there's so much unknown and everything is a bit confusing. You know, what we used to trust and I feel like believe in from all kinds of systems is, you know, we're questioning more and for the right reasons, right? It looks different. It is different. And I think we're all acknowledging that. I mean, look at technology. We're about to advance into the humanoid age and transition. Crazy. You know, it's like my parents had to worry about me drinking and driving. I have to worry if my daughter's going to chip herself, right? Like very different, you know, consequences and worries. And I, you know, not to say I'm not going to worry about her drinking and driving still, but, you know, like there are self-driving cars now. There's, you know, by the time she's only 3 now, by the time she's driving age, like who knows what's going to be there. Autonomous driving will probably rule the majority, right? So things shift and like what we need to like focus on, and it's just nuts. You mentioned earlier 3D, you know, 5D world, and I for about 5 years was completely out of the 3D world, and then got pregnant, had a baby, and quickly came back to it and realized like, oh, I need to, you know, live in both in different ways. Yes. And also there was a missing piece of community that I was feeling like in a bubble almost. And the bubble I was in wasn't necessarily serving me. And going back to work and having this like spiritual awareness and having had still like take clients and do events and like, you know, kind of live in 2 different very ways of serving humanity, it's been really fascinating and challenging, because there's times I need to kind of shut off my empathic side, you know, because I can feel emotions, I can feel things, and it could be very overwhelming. And then there's times I need to turn it on. So it's very, I would say for me, it's learning the balance of just what feels right and allowing my energy to lead versus my ego or what I think I need to be or who I need to be, and really letting my intuition guide me as a mother, as a businesswoman, as a spiritual leader, as a healer, you know, whatever you want to label it. It's really letting go of this control of what the outcomes and kind of just living in each moment. And that's been a whole other reality for me. And especially with career, like I didn't think I would like going back to work, and I would never say I love it, because I think it's still like 9 to 5 and corporate, it's heavy. But I'm very grateful for my boss and the people that I'm aligned to, because I can tell it's a soul connection. It's bigger than coworkers. They're people I'll have in my life probably forever. And, you know, I've met some amazing people that I'm just so grateful. And especially, you know, having had my daughter, and, you know, there's something that happens with women and even men when they become parents, and it's like a new life. Yeah. And you have to like get to know yourself again, and your priorities change.
The death and rebirth.
And, yeah.
It's a constant evolution of self.
And then like every marriage is different, but like my marriage, is kind of like a reset. Like, okay, now we have to date each other again. We have to get to know each other again.
Right. Because these versions of
right. And, some I think changed similar. And then like for my husband and I, like we changed very different. And so now we have to like adjust to our new versions of ourselves and kind of let the old stuff go. And that's a process too. So, it's interesting in many ways. Yeah. Oh, we got to do a commercial break.
No, I was just waiting for the natural. I just want to make sure my camera wasn't going to
I was like, oh, wait.
Poop out because sometimes when it's like, I'm too hot, I can't handle too much. Yeah. But yes, thank you for that transition. We are going to come back because I definitely want to dive more into, because I think a lot of the listeners here may not be aware of what these terms mean, like what you actually do. What is 3D? What is 5D? How do we use these spiritual tools to help us through these deaths and rebirths of ourselves and our partners and our friends and just life in general. So we will be back after this little message from our sponsors, which might be just me. Welcome to Healing House, a sacred space to seek refuge and refreshment for your mind, body, and soul. Whether you're seeking Reiki energy healing, tarot and oracle guidance, or soul transformational coaching, every session is designed to help you remember who you truly are and come home to your most powerful self. Join me in person or virtually for sessions, certification classes, private coaching, and healing events held around the world. Book your session or explore upcoming offerings at loveisthehighestfrequency.com. And we are back. Thank you, everybody, for listening to that very, very important sponsored message. Okay, so just for our listeners who may not be as aware of, the spiritual world and the tools and techniques, so let's just go through a couple things. What is 3D versus 5D when we talk about that?
So 3D is typically what we refer to as like the regular human experience, where everything is extremely physical, extremely tangible. There's polarity, good or bad. As we rise in consciousness, that's when we enter different types of dimensions that overlap with the 3D world. So it's like an enhanced version. So think of 4D as the astral realm. So when we go to our dream state, we're still in our human form, but we're in an astral realm of consciousness. No more our physical reality, but there's parts of our physical reality in it. So that's why some dreams you're like, oh, I know this area and this place and these people. And then some dreams you're like, I don't know anyone. I don't know where I'm at. That's the astral realm. So it's really where we get tap into from when we're asleep. And then there's the fifth dimensional realm that is usually where we go when we meditate consciously. So think about it when you close your eyes, you daydream. Meditation can include kind of like this blissful energy of possibility. It's usually where we can finally start to connect into our higher consciousness. So oftentimes you'll hear Akashic or Akashic library. So in the fifth dimension is this essential gateway to all other forms of dimension, space, and time. So think of it as a portal where we can then start to tap into higher dimensions. And that could go up to, for some, they believe 36, some believe 22. I resonate usually within the 22nd dimension. And that's, to me, very quick, like Godspeed type dimension. Like quick answers, super clear, very heart-centric. It goes right from what some would call your crown chakra into my heart. And once I can feel it, that activates the rest of my energy field. So
that's beautiful, through the heart. Okay, so now, if you're listening and you're like, what, that was a lot. If it was a lot, that's okay. This basically is like a new language that we're learning. And so correct me if I'm wrong, but each dimension is basically just a different frequency and vibration.
That's
so
right.
In order for you to access, let's say you're in the 3D and you're like, I want to go into the 5D. How do I get there? Then you basically raise your frequency to match the 5D, to be able to access that doorway, I guess you would say, right?
Yep.
And what does that mean? Like, how do I upgrade into the 5D? That means doing the inner work, starting with the meditation, self-awareness, clearing karmic cycles, being heart-centered, dealing with your shadow sides. Like, there can be so many ways.
You also tap into it through joy. So like I like to explain it as you go to a sports game and you're in an arena full of similar, fans.
Yeah.
Mine's baseball. So like your favorite player comes up and of course hits a home run, everyone out of their seat at the same time. That synchronistic, joyful. Yes, there's some not celebrating, but for the majority, you could feel the energy of the stadium and you could feel it through your bones. It's a shared emotion. It's a shared feeling. That's actually opening up that fifth dimension of consciousness. That's why some people can have that spark of like, oh, I have a new idea, because finally your higher consciousness will be like, oh, there you are. Boom, here you go. Dancing's a great one. Music is the highest or quickest frequency to shift the human body, because most of our energy field's water. So in order, that could be dense, right? But music can just boom. How many times have you heard your favorite song? All of a sudden you shift, right?
Right.
Music is healing, which is, why you have the gift of music, and will continue to create music to support people too. Ceremonies, when you do different types of ceremonies and you bring music, some people sit in ayahuasca and they have Icaros are playing, which help open up the medicine and the channels and support, whatever you need to heal, and whatever stream of consciousness needs to come through to do that. So, that is... frequency is definitely, if you study quantum physics, everything's frequency. So yes, you have to raise your frequency to match it, but it's not always just, praying and meditation and doing the work. Sometimes it's living and living in the moments for that energy to come through.
Thank you. Yes. See, that's why she's a teacher. She's the mentor. That's right. I love that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how you came into these gifts and how that's evolved in terms of like all the things that you do and you provide for other people. So how did you get here? What was your inspiration to get here? And I guess maybe give us a little rundown of how you would describe what you are and do.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so long story short, when I was growing up, my mom was super into tarot cards and all that. So I did grow up exposed to that. And I always felt like I had gifts. Like I always knew I could fly. I still try and figure that out, but I know I can. Yes. I keep trying to tell my daughter, show me how to fly again. I forgot. But I know you know how. And I always felt like I was psychic, and I would do, I love the memory game, like any memory game where you have to, guess where something is. Like I was always like good at them. And
she's so good. Pause on that for a second, okay? She's so good. I call her my psychic friend because a couple years ago, I was stressing out big time. I lost my wallet, and I was just supposed to drive up to Canada for this thing, which it didn't end up happening, which is good because it wasn't meant to. But I was stressing out, and I was like, I can't find my wallet, and I had everything packed. So I like took everything in my car, unpacked everything twice, multiple times, went back to my friend's house. I looked in every nook and cranny, and I was like, I am desperate. I'm gonna call Sarah. Okay, I didn't even know she could do this, but I just had a feeling. I was like, help. I was like, Sarah, please help me. I'm like, I can't find my wallet. I'm stressed out. She's like, okay, I see it under a black flap. It's hidden somewhere. And I was like, oh, I knew exactly where it was as soon as you said that. And sure enough, it was underneath the black flap that's underneath your like driver's car seat. Oh, like when your stuff kind of slips into the seat.
Yeah.
Yes. And there was, y'all. So if you don't believe that psychics or remote viewing or whatever it is real, then okay, because that's oh my God, saved me.
That was crazy. That was fun.
I've done that a few times. She has such a good time doing those too. It is super fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
And I feel very lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm like, I got cheat codes in life. And I got these friends in life who could help me with this kind of stuff. It's incredibly amazing. So anyways, let's go back to your story.
Yeah. So in high school, I don't know, at parties get drunk, and everyone always like, you'd always want to do a special talent or something. And so mine was like, let me read your poem. And I would just read people's poem. I had no idea. I did have a palm reading book, but I don't remember if I like studied it or not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure at that time I did, because I was into, like, I wanted to learn my gifts. I knew I had them. I just was like, what are they? And I kind of liked when people called me a witch, because I felt like they kind of scared, like, were afraid of me.
Yes.
Like, don't mess with her. She's a witch.
I get that all the time.
And this is also, mind you, back in the 90s. So this was like when Charmed was out, and that one movie, it was like The Craft.
Oh, The Craft.
Yeah. So like,
dark
right. So it was like kind of like, it was rocker vibes. Yeah. It was like alternative music was like, so it was grungy, it was like, that was kind of the thing. So, that's what I was into. My friends and I used to go to Borders, and we would read about our dreams, and like,
That's a bookstore, you guys.
Oh yeah, Borders.
By the way,
now it's like, I think all that's left is Barnes and Nobles. Like, it was like a Barnes and Nobles, and back then we didn't have phones, so they had pay phones still. So we would go hang out, get coffee. I don't think Starbucks was a thing then, but we'd go to our local coffee shop, get coffee, and then we would go spend hours at Borders and just read all kinds of witchy books. So that was a thing, mostly about our dreams, because we were all intrigued by our dreams.
Yeah, very cool.
But then I did some tarot stuff, but, and then I kind of like got out of it and wasn't really into it for a while, but I always knew I was intuitive. I always kind of had an idea. I just didn't know what to do with it. And like every time I go to a reader, they'd always kind of look at me like, you could do this. Like, I have so many recordings of readers telling me like, you're a reader, blah, blah. And I just didn't care. Yeah. I was like, I'm in corporate. I'm trying to climb the ladder and make a lot of money. Like,
I'm in the 3D world.
Just tell me when I'm going to be rich. Like, I'm here so you can tell me I'm going to get married. I'm going to be rich. Like, just tell me that. That I was one of those for most of my 20s. Totally. And I did exactly that. I climbed the ladder, and I got to the point where I met all my goals. I was driving my convertible. I owned a condo in Marina Del Rey. I made a lot of money. And I looked around. I was like, is it? Wait, what?
Now I have it.
I was like, wait, I did everything, and I'm not happy. And I stepped on a lot of people in different ways. I was, burned bridges and did what I needed to do in corporate world. That was a little cutthroat, and didn't always feel good, and kind of got to a place where I started getting feedback, and I was like, people don't like me. What? Like, I guess I come off that way. I didn't realize. And so I did Tony Robbins, and I walked on fire, did the
must
thing.
Be something about his programs. I've never done it, but people just rave about it.
I will say that was a very eye-opening experience. There was a lot of anger I had trapped in my body, and I think I had to prove myself, and the way I was doing it was by probably stepping on others, and not doing it in ways that were, in my mind, like sustainable for anything, for anyone. So he's very rigid. He's very, it's all about the mind, and very masculine. And so after that experience, I was craving more and started studying like different types of Tony Robbins personalities, Brene Brown and Gabrielle Bernstein, and, all kinds of, healers that have gone through a lot and had that awakening and shifted how they lived and how they
turned that pain into power.
Yeah, yes, pretty much. Yeah. And then I got introduced to quantum physics, and that was like, oh, that makes sense. Like, it's scientific and biofeedback. Like, at the time I was in marketing, I worked for Microsoft, and I was studying a lot about quantum computing and augmented realities and mixed universes, and like,
I just see things coming out of your head.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I was just like, oh, wow, this is all interesting. It feels like it should all fit together. And
You're
like,
such a sponge with knowledge
yes,
and information.
I love
too.
it. Yeah, I'm just like, what do I do with this? And so I started going into emotional intelligence and diving deep into that work, and did some programs and mentorships, mentored others, from like lawyers to doctors to, people that just graduated high school. So like all kinds of walk of lives. And in that, I started feeling very connected to people energetically. The turning point was when my sister was diagnosed with, at the time, with rheumatoid arthritis. And I remember as my bachelorette party, and for those of you who aren't familiar with rheumatoid arthritis, her symptoms were flare-ups where she would literally, her arms would go so big, her veins would pop out and she couldn't move them and was in physical pain.
Oh.
She couldn't open water bottles. She couldn't like unzip her pants to go to the bathroom. Like she couldn't even get gas at a gas station at times. Gosh. And they would happen pretty often for her. So pretty paralyzing. And she was a phlebotomist at the time. So she had to use needles and yes. And so it started affecting her work. And we were at my bachelorette party. She had an episode, and all I wanted to do was heal her. And I was just like, I don't know, but I just know quantum physics and tension and energy work, and like, let's just use it.
Drunk
so
at your bachelorette party, doing
at
this?
times, probably, yeah, like it was multiple, right? So I was just like, I just can, I just know. And so I got frustrated because I didn't know what to do to help her, and so. Long story short, went to do a plant medicine journey, and in that journey, a lot happened. A lot happened that I was like, whoa, like what was real, what wasn't, like that seemed a little psychedelic. But what came through was information I couldn't ignore that felt so relevant to my life. And in that, one of the shamans I met introduced me to Reiki. And I felt like I got Reiki by an angel during the plant medicine. And I just remember I wanted my sister to feel that way. Oh. And so after that, I became a Reiki master and started going deep into energy healing. I came across this other shaman who is into more healing from different types of chants and modalities, and one of them was a water healing seminar. So I took my sister there. Oh. And all of a sudden I just started channeling all kinds of different things, and he was like, yes, keep going, you're doing great. I was like, do you want to jump in, kind of thing, because I came here for you to jump in to heal her. He's like, you're doing it though. Yay. And so through several events, long story short, she no longer has it.
Oh, incredible.
Not to say like she's completely healed, but I will say she also did a lot herself, like changing her diet and shifting a lot around her environment. Of course, so I would never say just the work her and I did with energy was it, but she would even credit a lot of the energy work to her healing because it helped her mentally. She had different things to anchor into, some tools that I told her, whenever you have a flare up, you're passing a very strong diamond. And this diamond is an energy of pain and you're releasing it. Ooh. And so every time she had an episode, she had a purpose because she's like, I just got to pass this diamond. I'm passing this diamond through. And then it would go away. And she went to a new doctor, and the doctor was like, you have a clean bill of health. Like, you're good.
The miracle of taking charge of your own healing, energy healing. Well, one of the main reasons why I want to start this podcast is to put the power of healing back into the hands of the listener.
Yep.
Full body chills again. Okay. When I get full body chills, it's like my guides and angels are like confirming, yes, bitch, yes. Sorry, what was I talking about? Putting the power of healing back into our own hands, because that's the truth, and that's what I learned from Reiki level 1. So I took Reiki level 1, during COVID with Sarah here and our dear friend Rebecca as well. And I didn't even know what Reiki was, but for some reason, intuitively, I was like, I think you're supposed to go.
Yeah.
So I went, and I had only gone so far within my healing, but I couldn't break through to like the next level. And then I learned this, and I did it every day for 6 months, and it completely changed my life. Removed anxiety that was living in my throat, the depressive thoughts, energies. Like I was more motivated, more clear. And after the 6 months, seeing how much I healed myself by literally just doing it myself. That's just like you wanting to help your sister. Like that's what inspired me to become a Reiki master as well and help other people. Because I'm like, people need to know about this supernatural power gift that we're given. You know, it's almost like Jesus, right? And when they're like, oh, how could he heal with his hands? And, you know, we literally have the same, well, I don't know about same, but we have similar, if not the same energy to be able to heal ourselves. And not saying that Western medicine isn't, you know, helping or working. I'm sure there's some that definitely does. And Reiki could either be a supplemental way of healing, or I like to say that it's a way to prep your body to receive more healing as well. Yeah.
I mean, I know my sister in her journey, she really wanted to lean on, you know, mostly natural remedies for treating her condition. But there were moments her body had to use steroids. It had to use the pharmaceuticals because that's how bad it got at times. And then, but it was always temporary for her. And that's what I give her credit for is she never became dependent on them.
Yeah.
She knew she just needed to use them for a temporary, you know, time, and it served when she did.
Right.
And so I think that's important. It's like we don't know until we're in a space where we will know what we need to do. And I think with Reiki, you know, there's Qigong, there's chromotherapy, there's all kinds of different energy modalities. And it's figuring out what resonates again with you. And, you know, some people aren't open to Reiki. I've met several. And, you know, and that's okay because that's why I do other modalities, right? And offer other ways to connect to energy. And I think that's important too, is acknowledging that there's not one way, there's just many.
Yes.
And, you know, whatever you believe in, there's probably other modalities that are complementary to that too.
Beautiful. Okay, we're gonna put a pause on that, go to our next commercial break. But when we come back, we're gonna dive into all the different modalities that Sarah is in tune with, and different ways that you can work with her, how she's even turned her own pain into power as well. So we'll be right back. Are you ready to change your life starting from the inside out? My private 12-week soul transformational experience is for those who are done repeating old cycles and ready to rise into their most powerful selves. Over 12 weeks, we'll release old patterns, reclaim your power, and realign you with your purpose. This work has truly changed lives, and yours could be next. It would be an honor to work with you. Apply now and learn more at loveisthehighestfrequency.com.
Okay.
All right. Okay. You're going to pump our gas some days. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. And thank you so much for listening this far in and getting to know my girl, my mentor, my friend, Sarah Wong. We are going to dive into just the pain that was turned into power. So or can you share with us maybe an instance where you went through something really painful and you took that opportunity to turn it into power?
Yeah, I think most recently a good example is postpartum. I had a lot of postpartum anxiety, a lot of pain, physical pain. I was diagnosed with a condition that one of my great-great-grandmothers died from, and it required like 8 surgeries and
You went through
multiple procedures, CT scans, MRIs, you name it, did it. A lot of unknowns, and still being in this like countless pain that just, having to be a new mom on top of not feeling good and literally feeling like I would never feel better.
Yeah.
And that's how I actually became a sound healer. Is I had a bunch of sound bowls for my store, and when I was in pain, and even when my baby, at the time she was only a few months old, she would cry, I'd play sound bowls and it would help. And she would stop crying and I would stop being in pain. And but it worked for both of us. And so I started kind of just doing different, sounds with the bowls. And then I started doing little small circles with others, like intimate, and just sharing that experience helped me. And it was almost like focus out. It's like, okay, you're in pain. That's not good. That's not going to stop because it's, you're not being treated. And quite frankly, at the time, the doctors didn't know what or how to treat it. And so everything they thought would help didn't. And so it was constant like, okay, it's going to be better, and it's not, right? And I didn't know when the end would be. Like, it just got to a point of like, I just don't feel good.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I had to go back to work full time, having been out of the industry that I left to become a full-time healer. And this is post-pandemic. So, I did try to go virtual. It just didn't work for me. And it was too hard being a new mom, going through postpartum, going through, not feeling well and not knowing why I'm not feeling well. And, at the time my marriage wasn't even in a good place. Like, everything felt like it just was in a terrible position, including myself. And I had to reach inside of me and pull out every strength of willpower to not give up. My daughter was that guiding light. I would say, had she not been there, there's no way.
She's the sweetest.
She just
angel. When I walked in today too, because I haven't spent a lot of time with her.
No, but she remembers you.
I know.
So, oh yeah, I know you.
I know. And I came in. She's like, just came up and gave me a hug. I was like, oh my God. So she is a beautiful, warm, golden light.
She's, named after my middle name, who's named after my grandmother, that literally transitioned 6 months after she was born. So they were able to meet for a little bit. And so she was my guiding light through it. It's like, I knew, like, I just want to be the best version of myself, and whatever it takes to get there, I'm going to do that for you and for me. Yeah. And I put my marriage aside because I just couldn't solve everything. And I was like, you know what? Let's prioritize first her, because that's, she deserves that. And at the same time, as close to second, me, so tandem, really. And I just went back to the basics. I had to rebuild. And, I have studied a lot of different modalities, from Kundalini Reiki and Kundalini Reiki uses the chakra system, which are our energy centers, from survival to emotional to ego to heart to voice to our higher self, our intuition, and our, connection to source energy. And in studying that, I knew I needed to recalibrate my Kundalini. So I started with the root, and that's all about stability. So I was like, in order to rebuild my root, I have to restabilize in the 3D world. Yeah. Went back and got a full-time job. And I used my intuition to network that, right? I knew when to check for a job. I knew who to reach out to. One of the positions I found was for an agency that one of my dear friends works at. So networked, thank God, was able to get an interview and was chosen for that role. And my boss, I love, she's a soul sister for sure. And divinely guided. And, again, it's like trusting my intuition, trusting myself, trusting this was the right choice. Even though I was not in physical strain, like I was in pain, I had to numb it. and I knew it was temporary, but it's like, okay, I'll get better insurance. I can get better doctors. I can, get better treatment than what I was getting through my old insurance. So I had to get real with myself, but at the same time, use my intuition and my faith that there was a path forward, that there was a way, and it wasn't anyone else saving me. I think at the time I got a little used to asking people for help or, seeing that as an option. And
I totally get
I
it.
had to pull back on that because as much as it wasn't sustainable, nor, not only for me, but like for others, like how, like they're not responsible for me, and I can milk it and be like, oh, I'm in pain. But at the same time, I had to just take that moment and trust myself. And I was like, no, I can do this. And there's a way.
And would you say that's where you found that power?
I feel like once I stepped into the role and was immediately challenged with going back and, not being my full strength. Like I was in pain still physically, so my confidence wasn't that big. So I had to rise above the pain to find the power to show up every day and prove myself again because it was a new role, and in that new roles can stay and they can go real quick too. Like, oh, it didn't work out. Let's get rid of her, So I shifted into the power for the reason of survival mostly. Yeah. But then when it came to my daughter, I shifted into the power because I want to be for her an example of like, you with you. Like you find your way by believing in yourself and trusting yourself. Yes. And in order to truly show her, I got to do that. I got to show her by doing. I can't just say it. Yeah. But at the same time, it was not wavering on my spiritual gifts and letting that go. So I still do that on the side. But then I started incorporating that into my works too. So did a few sound baths.
So cool. I love it.
And then it immediately attracted my tribe within, right? Yes. Like so many spiritual people there. And it was cool to be able to connect with those souls and continue to. So outside of work, it's funny because, I have 2 jobs technically, but I love the soul work. And, I don't do a ton of sessions. Everything's by referral for the most part. I do have my website that's out there, but everything's usually through referral. And I actually love that pace. And my vision in the future is to do events, and really, I know, as I mentioned earlier, we're entering the humanoid era. Yeah. And I think it's important for kids to really cultivate their gifts and know how to leverage energy for mental health, for physical health, for, many reasons. And so, we're really, I feel like the next generation, my daughter's generation, and even, those that come after her are here to be inventors for the new world. They're here to create from different spaces of consciousness with, very different technology. And in that could go either way. We're still in that polarized space. So I feel like guiding and anchoring in the knowing of how to connect to their higher selves, how to use energy, how to use music, I think could be beneficial for the world, but also for their generations and beyond. So,
oh my gosh, absolutely. If we grew up with a school like that, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that's really, and I do look at the future, like there's the School of Humanity, which I love, and I want my daughter to go there. It's an online school. It's now middle school and high school, and it's international. Oh, so cool. Their curriculum is still tied to everything they need to know, but they're what we would call electives are more geared towards greenhouse living and solving for the world crisis.
Oh my gosh.
That we need to sustainable living, all kinds of initiatives from technology to farming to world economics. And I feel like the more, imagine your classmates aren't just your neighbors, but worldwide. And you could go to any country and you would know someone. And I want that for her. I want her to travel if she chooses. She could travel just the US if she wants, but I would love for her to like at a young age travel the world and be exposed to different cultures and different belief systems and different ways of life, and to work collectively with world leaders to make a change.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that, because that is how they're going to change the world. Whereas we were learning about balancing our checkbooks.
Yeah.
Very different things, and just different times in our lives, you know, but I am grateful that we grew up in the age where we got to experience what life was like before the internet, before cell phones and stuff. So we got to really experience the simplicity of just living without the major technologies in our lives. Because now it's kids who are growing up now is just screen time. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but it's just kind of, you know, I had to use my imagination growing up.
Yeah.
Not saying they don't have to, but totally different level.
And they don't want to. So it's like, imagine them having a connection to energy. And, you know, when you learned energy, right? It's like you wanted to play with it, right? Like it was so easy to disconnect because you had other ways to tap into energy. And really, you know, television is energy, right? It's
television.
It's just telling you what you want to like or need to focus on, right?
I never even thought of the word that way. You are so right, because it's what are we being fed as well,
right?
Okay, well, we can go into that for another episode. I know I'm going to have you on this show multiple times, because this is literally just the beginning, because I want to bring Sarah back on to talk about just diving deeper into all her modalities as well. But before we end this, we're going to go to a quick little commercial break, and we'll come back and we'll give you all the important information about Sarah, everything you need to know to be able to work with her or just be inspired by her knowledge and her presence. So we will be right back after this break. It's me, Miss Theo again. Besides being a healer, I'm also an international photographer and filmmaker with a passion for storytelling and capturing magical moments. From weddings to portraits, documentaries to music videos, and lifestyle to branding, I don't just take photos, I translate energy into art. Based wherever the story takes me, from Hawaii to Bali to Thailand to LA, I'm available worldwide for shoots, events, and creative collaborations. Check out my portfolio at theotakesphotos.com. Can't wait to create with you. And we're back. If you made it this far, awesome. Thank you for joining us. We are almost at the near of this podcast. But before we end, just want to ask you, Sarah, about any tips for you. You talked about postpartum, that whole journey, you know, and a lot of women and mothers don't talk about that experience. So what I hear from my female friends who've gone through it, they're like, why didn't anyone tell me this?
Yeah.
Why didn't any of my female friends who went through these kinds of things tell me this? So yeah, I'm not a mother myself, so I don't know. But what it comes to seem is like maybe there was like a societal shame, or, you know, and then you talking about you having to go back to work after still trying to heal this broken body, because it, you know, once you pop the baby out, it doesn't just snap back, right? Like your body literally changes, and so does your spirit and your energy. So what advice do you have for anybody in general, but maybe moms specifically, on how to turn the pain that they're experiencing into power?
I mean, I would say, I think postpartum is relatable for anyone going through something life-changing, right? Whether that's going through a death of a family member or a loved one or an animal, and, you know, life's just changed, and you know it's not the same, right? I feel like when you give birth, it's such a, you know, you're going through so much physically, emotionally, spiritually, and it's the first 2 weeks are very wild. I wish I would have been warned a little more about that, because your hormones are just like rapidly healing and purging, and you're going through a lot physically, and in that is a lot of instability and feeling all kinds of stuff. And if you don't have support, it's it's hard because you feel very alone. And in addition, you have to care for a new child, and there's a lot of worry that goes there. So you're a lot of, you're not even focused on yourself. Like, I don't know how many moms I've talked to that, like, I don't know when the last time I took a shower was. And, it's finding that balance again. And it's a lot. And it's different for everyone. And I wouldn't want to say, like, oh, it's looked like this for everyone. Because I know some women who literally gave birth and the next day were like, life is normal. And I was just like, I don't know how you did that. But, for a majority of us, I don't think it looks that way. And I would say, it took me, some women would casually tell me, oh, after 6 months, you'll feel normal again. Well, maybe for you, but I was still in physical pain for 2 years after I had my child. So, so no, I did not feel normal. In fact, it took me a long time to feel normal, and I still don't feel normal, and I don't think I ever will. So I let that expectation go. And I think that's important is when you're going through whatever you're going through is no one can really tell you what is going to work. But the ones that hold space for you, that's the ones you want to bring in close because then you can process what you need. Yeah. Because it's going to change. In one moment, you might just need a hug. In other moments, you might just need a break. In other moments, you might just need to vent and be very honest. And it's just surrounding yourself with those energies that you could lean on. And sometimes your own energy and it's yourself.
Totally.
And it's a lot of moments for me. I felt like I had to kind of lean on myself because I didn't know how to communicate all the complex feelings I was feeling. And to me, was me with a lot of music. So listening to music that let me feel and had words I couldn't use. And a lot of it was leaning on my daughter too, and just like gratitude for her, So, and for some that have lost, like you might not have any of that. It might be a void. Yeah. And you have to find, and I wouldn't say something to replace the void, but those moments is finding comfort in the void and figuring out how to move forward, knowing that void is there.
Like being okay with the void, accepting the void.
And that's not forever. It's just in that moment, right? It's like, okay, it's just, I'm barely sad and
and that's okay.
And it's okay. I don't need to just be happy.
I have an alarm set on here that says I'm struggling and that's okay. Yeah. So when I'm having those tough times, because one of my issues in the past when I wasn't as healed was negative self-talk. And that's just, and similar to the energy of your, what you're saying there is like, if the mother is resistant to accepting the void, right, then you're just resist, and that's not helping you to open up and actually process and heal everything. So I think that's a really incredible piece of advice that seems so simple, but so difficult to actually switch to.
It's so hard. And then it's like, how long do you stay in that? And that's like, that's you with you. You gotta tell yourself. There's moments when I had to tell myself, this is not normal. Yeah. And I need to figure out something that's going to work and get help. And I was offered by a lot of people therapy. Like, oh, you should go do therapy. And it was a hard no for me. Yeah. I don't doubt that for some it's exactly what would work, but it wasn't what I needed. Absolutely. Because I didn't need to process. I was actually already processing too much. I needed to feel. Yeah. And I needed people to allow me to feel. And so I finally started just telling people, I just need you to listen. Don't fix me. Don't give me solution. Just listen and hold space. Yeah. And if you want to agree with me, that's okay. As long as it's not a solution. Don't give me solution. That's not what I need. Yeah. I just need to hear someone else say, yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah. Yeah. And that's all I needed.
That's beautiful.
And it helped.
Yes. And I think being aware of what you actually need. Yeah. Right? Well, giving yourself the time to come to the awareness.
But giving people boundaries too of like,
oh yeah,
this is what I need you to be in this moment.
Yeah.
Like you called, you've extended you, but this is what I need.
Actually need. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if people need you and your services to help them turn their pain into power? So what are all of, because we didn't even really tap into this, which I probably should have done in the beginning, but the list is so long. How can people work with you? In how many ways? In what ways?
So, I mean, different ways. I have my website. It's Energy House, Energy House, HAUS, LB.com. So energyhouselb.com, one word. And on there under services, you'll see actually Theo's.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's a collective of healers, all different services. Some of mine are there, and it's what I offer is an hour session, and it's using all the modalities I know, and it's really a time to connect with your higher self. And sometimes that will incorporate energy healing. It's really kind of designed to be what you want it to be. But usually what people get out of that hour session is a lot of clarity, some guides, some tools, next steps. I'm usually one that gives a lot of resources, like go explore X, Y, and Z. I've learned from many different teachers, so I share my teachers with everyone too, and the resources they've created. So depending on what you're looking for, whether it's like, I just don't want to feel this way anymore, or this keeps happening and I can't like get out of this loop.
Right.
Or I need this clarity, or I just want to unlock my gifts, or I want to understand my gifts, or I want to have different modalities to tap into to help me evolve. Those are usually the common themes when people come to see me or are sent to me.
Right. But Sarah has so many modalities
Yeah.
that she taps into with each healing session. So I think that's probably why also it's hard for her to be like, I'm an Akashic Records reader.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I
so
leverage
much,
Akashic.
Yeah, it's so
right,
much more than that.
Yeah.
Akashics, Reiki.
Yeah. I really like
therapy.
Chromotherapy is color healing. So it's like meditation mixed with color, which is proven to also support healing at a cellular level. Yeah. So there's, I do aromatherapy. I do events.
Oh, yeah.
So I do sound healing events with sound bowls and drum.
Yes. Sarah has been essential oils, like I don't know what you call guide. At one of the events that I thrown, people loved it. So much. Everyone got to they get to like create their own special blend based off of their energy.
Yep,
so cool.
Yeah, so they'll come up and like, I want to work on this energy. I'm like, okay, this oil. We make the blend, and then they'll let me know how it feels. I do different. It depends on like how many. Like I think you had like 30 at your event.
Yes, 30 to 40.
If it's over 30, then I usually do a different version of that because it's a lot of energy. But I have an upcoming event around perimenopause, which I'm stoked about. Yeah, I'll be doing a sound bath and aromatherapy bar there too.
I love this. Ooh, I just got chills. So yes, you're on the right track, girl.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I do events. I do retreats. I haven't done a retreat in quite some time, but my focus in the future will probably be like family focused retreats where it's like not spiritual, but like relaxing and or connecting to earth and environments that are safe for families and children with like-minded, good food, nutrient, like think of this as like I could just take my family and I don't have to worry about meals, and I know everything's going to be yummy and healthy, and there'll be activities that are nourishing to the soul, but also, entertaining for the mind, right? So, and family friendly. Like that's my vision, at least. Sometime this year, probably later. But that I would love once a year to do that internationally and go to different ley lines and like sacred sites.
I'm like, Sarah and I have been talking for a while about a retreat somewhere international. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're putting it out to the universe. It's going to happen.
Yes. Somewhere,
Somewhere.
I would love Tokyo, personally, because I've been just...
What?
Tokyo
Interesting
just keeps
choice.
calling me.
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there must be something there.
I don't... Yeah. Well, I mean, also, Reiki's Japanese, so...
Right.
I mean, maybe that's that. Maybe
we should go to the mountains.
Yeah.
We should go to the mountains.
That would be amazing.
Yes, the mountain where Usui basically meditated for 21 days and downloaded all of the information about Reiki and shared it with us. So thank you for that.
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. Well, beautiful. Yep. Thank you so much. Before we end, though, any last words? Anything you want to leave with the audience here for turning your pain into power, or anything, any healing tips?
Yeah, I would say, between 2025 and the next 5 years, I think we're all going to go through a lot of change year after year after year. And that's going to be fast forward by technology. And I think the biggest thing is being open to living in the present and, kind of detaching from what your reality was and allowing yourself to explore new ways and new ways of thinking, new ways of learning, new ways of using your gifts, because I can guarantee we're all here for a reason and probably not even stepping into a percentage of that yet.
Oh, so true.
But if we allow ourselves over the next 5 years, why not? The next 5 years of this decade, let's see what opens up for us and be open.
Oh, I love it. Let go, let flow, baby. Awesome. Okay, so if you want to learn more about Sarah or get in contact with her about potentially working in person or remote virtually too, if you're around the world, she could still work with you virtually, then you can visit her at www.energyhouse, H-A-U-S, so it's ENERGYHAUSLB.com. LB's for Long Beach, y'all.
That's right.
So,
or living big, loving big,
yes,
whatever, however LB you want to apply it.
Yes, exactly. So energyhouselb.com. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being here. Thank you for being a part of my life. I'm so glad we decided to join each other on Earth in this timeline. Yes. And this is not going to be the last you hear of her. She has so much knowledge to share. If you're down to share with us.
Always.
I'm just like, hey, Sarah, do this. You want to do this? Can you do this? Do this. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. And just a reminder that it's truly in the pain where we find our greatest power. So encourage you guys to all connect with each other, sending love to everyone out there and to yourself. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Yay.
Yay.
Good job. Hey, love. Thank you so much for tuning into the Pain into Power podcast. If this episode spoke to your soul, please take a moment to rate, review, and share it with someone who might need this message today. You can connect with me on Instagram at Healing House of Theo or visit loveisthehighestfrequency.com to learn more about how we can potentially work together on all levels: energy healing, speaking engagements, tarot divination, empowered photo shoots, soul transformational coaching, visual storytelling, music, and so much more. For podcast business inquiries or to sponsor an episode, please email me at thepainintopowerpodcast@gmail.com. Remember, love is the highest frequency, and pain isn't where your story ends. It's where your awakening begins. Until next time, keep turning your pain into power and self-sabotage into self-love.